What if a single Stoic truth could pierce through the noise? Those nagging whispers of "I can't" or "it's too late" that choke your days and dim your fight. You're not lost. You're loud with excuses, drowning in a storm of doubt while life slips past unguarded. Here's life advice that'll leave you speechless. Stoicism isn't just philosophy, it's your weapon, a razor-sharp guide to hush the chaos, seize what's yours, and stand taller than you ever thought possible. This isn't fluff, it's a jolt to the core. You're built for more than drifting, and these Stoic lessons, raw and real, cut through the mess. Think of two lumberjacks. One swings a dull axe all day, worn out. The other sharpens his blade and topples giants. That's the edge. Advice that's not about grinding harder, but striking smarter, fusing cynic's grit with Stoic steel. Why muddle through when you can master it? These aren't just tips, they're revelations, battle-honed and street-tested, ready to rewire how you face the world. Hang on, 11 Stoic gems are coming, each a blast of clarity to shred your fears, rally your crew, and carve your course. From seeing the win to silencing the noise, this is your map to not just cope, but conquer. If doubt's been your soundtrack, hit like to flip the script, share this with someone muted by life, sub to Victory Stoic to grab these jaw-dropping truths, and slam "I'm waking up" in the comments, then name it. What's one doubt you'll mute today? This advice doesn't whisper, it roars. Let's hear your silence. Number 1. See the destination, not the obstacles. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they focus too much on the barriers in their way. They see the difficulties, the setbacks, the things that could go wrong, and they convince themselves that the journey isn't worth it. A Stoic, however, sees something different. A Stoic understands that the mind amplifies whatever it focuses on. So instead of fixating on obstacles, they fixate on the goal. Imagine two hikers standing at the base of a massive mountain. The first, Daniel, looks up and immediately feels overwhelmed. He sees the steep incline, the endless path, and the exhaustion ahead. His mind floods with doubts. What if I can't make it? What if I get too tired? Before even taking the first step, he already feels defeated. The second hiker, Alex, sees the same mountain but focuses on something different, the summit. He visualizes the feeling of standing at the top, the wind against his face, the view stretching out before him. He feels excitement instead of dread. His focus isn't on the climb, but on the victory. And so, while Daniel hesitates, Alex starts walking. The science of visualization and success. This isn't just about motivation, it's neuroscience. Studies in positive visualization show that the human brain struggles to distinguish between real experiences and vividly imagined ones. Neuroscientist Dr. Srinivasan Pillai found that when people mentally rehearse success, whether in sports, business, or personal growth, their brains activate the same neural pathways as if they were actually performing the task. This process, called mental simulation, helps increase confidence, reduce fear, and make success feel more attainable. In another study by Dr. Blas Lotto at the University of Chicago, basketball players were divided into 3 groups. One group practiced free throws daily. Another group simply visualized making free throws without physically practicing. The third group did nothing. After 30 days, the group that physically practiced improved by 24%. But astonishingly, the group that only visualized improved by 23%, almost the same amount. The mind, when trained properly, creates reality before it happens. The Stoic perspective, make the obstacle the path. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." A Stoic does not complain about difficulties. They use them as training. Every challenge is an opportunity to sharpen their mind, every setback a lesson in resilience. Instead of focusing on what is hard, they focus on what is possible. The next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, am I fixating on the difficulty or the destination? If all you see is the obstacle, it will paralyze you. But if you see the reward waiting on the other side, your brain will begin paving the way forward. Like the hiker who focuses on the summit, like the athlete who sees themselves winning before they even step on the court, shift your vision, and the path will become clear. Number 2. Hone your mind daily. Rest to forge, not to falter. Picture 2 lumberjacks locked in a duel with the forest, axes flashing under a merciless sun. Ethan, the relentless, grips his blade like a lifeline. He swings without cease, sweat his badge of honor, convinced that sheer force will claim the day. His edge blunts, his arms quake, yet he presses on, a warrior chained to a fading fight. Then there's Ryan, calm, deliberate. Every hour he steps back, not to collapse, but to sharpen, honing his axe to a razor's gleam. By dusk, Ethan's heap is a pitiful stump beside Ryan's towering stack. Not because Ryan outmuscled him, but because he outmastered him, turning rest into a forge for triumph. This isn't just about trees, it's your mind's battlefield. Too many charge through life like Ethan, grinding, gorging on tasks, believing more hustle means more victory. They churn endlessly, screens blazing, duties piling, no pause to breathe. They're busy, not brilliant, dulled by their own frantic swing. Science backs the sharper path. Neuroplasticity proves your brain doesn't grow when you push, it thrives when you pause. Dr. Matthew Walker's work at UC Berkeley shows strategic rest sparks creativity, hones decisions, and fends off burnout, wiring strength in silence, not chaos. Take Sarah, a driven entrepreneur. She crams her days with hustle, meetings stacked like logs, no gap to think. She's a blur of motion, but her edge fades. Then there's Olivia. An hour each dawn, she reads, reflects, refines. Sarah's frenzy looks fierce, but Olivia's quiet cuts deeper. Sharper, swifter, she reigns where Sarah stumbles. In life's arena, work, love, growth, those who hone their minds don't just survive, they slay. The Stoics wielded this like a blade. Zeno of Citium, founder of Stoicism, declared, "Man conquers the world by conquering himself." Pause isn't weakness, it's your anvil, sharpening clarity, forging resilience, slicing through pointless strife. So stop swinging blunt, step back, read, reflect, whet your edge, then strike. In a world of dull axes, the honed mind rules supreme. Number 3, go straight to your goal. Forget the line, take the cake. Most people follow the script life hands them. They wait their turn, follow the rules, and assume that success will come if they are patient enough. But life doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who take action. Imagine walking into a crowded bakery. There's a long line stretching out the door, people waiting patiently for their turn. But one person, instead of standing in line, spots a self-service counter, grabs a prepackaged cake, and walks out in minutes. While others are still waiting, he is already enjoying his reward. In life, the long line represents convention, the slow, predictable path everyone assumes they must take. But those who think creatively, who question the system, and who are willing to act differently often reach their goals faster, with less resistance. Consider Ava, a college graduate drowning in student debt. Instead of applying for traditional jobs like her classmates and waiting months for callbacks, she starts freelancing online, building skills, and making money immediately. Within a year, she's self-employed, earning more than most of her peers who are still sending resumes and hoping for a break. She didn't wait in line. She found another way. The Stoics understood the power of direct action. While others waste time complaining about barriers, a Stoic finds a way through, around, or past them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If a path is blocked, most people stop. A Stoic asks if the path is necessary in the first place. Success isn't about waiting, it's about seeing opportunities that others overlook. Next time you find yourself standing in life's metaphorical line, ask yourself, is this really the only way? Or is there a faster, smarter, more creative path forward? The world belongs to those who stop waiting and start moving. Number 4, take care of those around you. That's real strength. Most people think strength is about dominance, independence, or proving you don't need anyone. But real strength isn't about standing alone. It's about lifting others up while standing tall yourself. The strongest person in the room isn't the one who intimidates, controls, or walks away without looking back. It's the one who supports, empowers, and creates unshakable bonds. Imagine 2 warriors on a battlefield. One fights alone, cutting down enemies with brute force, believing that relying on others is weakness. The other fights alongside his comrades, watching their backs as they watch his. At first, the lone warrior seems invincible, but as exhaustion sets in, he becomes vulnerable. Alone, he is outnumbered, outmatched, and eventually falls. Meanwhile, the second warrior, though he shares his strength with others, never fights alone. He stands because others stand with him. And in the end, he is the one who wins. Psychologists call this reciprocal resilience. the idea that those who support others build stronger support systems for themselves. Studies show that people who invest in meaningful relationships experience lower stress, greater emotional stability, and even longer lifespans. It's not just about being kind, it's about creating a foundation that makes you and those around you unbreakable. The Stoics never saw strength as isolation. Seneca wrote, "No man can live a happy life if he turns everything to himself." A Stoic knows that true power is not hoarded, it is shared. Helping others, building strong relationships, and offering support are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you are strong enough to give, rather than just take. So the next time you think strength is about standing alone, ask yourself, who stands with you? Who would fight for you as you would for them? Because at the end of the day, the strongest person is not the one who stands above others, but the one who stands with them. Number 5. Listen first, speak later. The strongest voice is the one that knows when to be silent. Most people believe that the loudest person in the room holds the most power, but the reality is quite the opposite. Those who speak without listening reveal their weakness, while those who listen before they speak command true respect. Power isn't in the words themselves, it's in knowing when to use them. Imagine two leaders in a heated debate. The first, Daniel, interrupts constantly, eager to prove he's right. He speaks over others, rushes to respond, and assumes that dominance in conversation equals control. The second, Elias, listens. He observes, absorbs, and only speaks when he has something precise and meaningful to say. His words cut through the noise, not because they are loud, but because they are measured, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. By the end of the discussion, Daniel has said much but influenced little, while Elias, having spoken far less, has commanded the room. Psychologists refer to this as the power of strategic silence. Studies have shown that people who pause before responding are perceived as more intelligent, competent, and authoritative. In negotiations, those who listen more and speak less tend to gain the upper hand because they gather information while the other party reveals their position. Silence is not weakness, it is a weapon. The Stoics mastered this principle. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we speak." A Stoic understands that most words are wasted, but the right words, spoken at the right time, can change everything. The next time you feel the urge to fill silence with words, resist it. Listen first. Observe. Let others speak themselves into corners, give away their intentions, and reveal what they do not realize they are sharing. Then, when the moment is right, speak, not to be heard, but to be remembered. Because in a world full of noise, the most powerful voices are those that know when to stay silent. Number 6, stay humble in success. Privilege is just a disposable cup. Success can be the ultimate test, but of character. Many people handle failure with grace, yet crumble under the weight of their own achievements. Power, wealth, and recognition do not change who you are. They reveal it. That's why the truly great are not the ones who let success define them, but those who remain unchanged by it. Imagine 2 men rising to success. The first, Jonathan, once humble and hardworking, begins to believe his own hype. As people praise him, he starts demanding special treatment, dismissing those he once considered equals. He forgets the struggle that brought him here. The second, Lucas, treats success like a temporary privilege. He stays grounded, never allowing praise to cloud his judgment. He remembers that fame, money, and power are just tools, not identity. Years later, when the tides shift, Jonathan finds himself alone, forgotten by those he dismissed, while Lucas, respected for his humility, continues to thrive. A famous example of this mindset is former U.S. Secretary of Defense James Mattis, known for his disciplined humility. Despite holding one of the most powerful positions in government, he chose to live modestly, even declining many of the privileges that came with his rank. When asked why, he said, "Rank and privilege are like styrofoam cups, temporary, disposable, and not worth attaching yourself to." He understood that success is fleeting, and those who build their identity around it will collapse when it fades. The Stoics warned against arrogance in success. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, constantly reminded himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He knew that power meant nothing in the face of time. The Emperor of Rome understood what many forget. True greatness is not measured by what you achieve, but by how you carry yourself when you achieve it. Next time success finds you, ask yourself, am I holding on to it like a styrofoam cup, knowing it's temporary? Or am I mistaking it for something permanent? The world respects those who stay humble when they have every reason to be arrogant. Because the moment you start believing you're above others, you've already started to fall. Number 7, forge real bonds, not digital chains. Imagine a world where shadows flicker across screens, two souls mere pixels apart, yet continents adrift. One, Liam, scrolls endlessly, his nights aglow of likes and swipes, chasing hollow echoes of connection, a trap he calls comfort, his heart dimming with every tap. Then there's Mia. She steps into the fray, meeting eyes, trading words, her laughter a torch against the dark. Liam's a prisoner of glass, Mia's a warrior of flesh. Her bond's a lifeline where his fade to ash, not because she's louder, but because she's alive, unshackled from the screen's cold snare. This isn't just a choice, it's your soul's crucible. Too many, like Liam, fall into the tech abyss. Scrolling's their solace, notifications their pulse, believing a ping outshines a handshake. They're wired, not woven, caught in a web where friends are digits, not depths. Science sounds the alarm. Studies from UCLA reveal screen time spikes loneliness, slashing real talk for shallow clicks. Your brain starves for the raw, the real, not the filtered glow. Without it, you're a ghost in your own life, tethered to a trap that dims your fire. Take Ethan, a coder. He codes connection, but lives in pixels, his days a blur of chats that never land. His inbox brims, yet his chest hollows. A king of code, a pauper of kin. Then there's Sarah. She shuts the screen, walks the streets, shares a coffee, feels the pulse of a friend's grin. Ethan's tethered, Sarah's triumphant. Her real ties are roped through life's void where his digital threads fray. In love, in work, in war, those who forge flesh outlast the pixel bound. The Stoics saw through this haze. Musonius Rufus thundered, "To live well is to live with others, not apart from them." Screens don't save, they sever, but real bonds, raw, unscripted, are your shield, your spark. So ditch the glow. Meet, speak, clasp hands, and feel the weight of the real. In a world chained to screens, those who connect in truth wield the might to conquer the dark. Number 8. Find passion in your work. Don't just work to survive, work to thrive. Most people see work as a means to an end, a way to pay bills, survive, and maybe retire one day. But what if work wasn't just something you had to do, but something you wanted to do? What if instead of dragging yourself through each workday, you felt energized by it? The key isn't finding the perfect job. It's learning how to bring purpose into the job you already have. The story of two bricklayers. Imagine two bricklayers working side by side. When asked what they're doing, the first sighs and says, "I'm laying bricks, one by one, just trying to get through the day." The second, smiling, responds, "I'm building a cathedral that will stand for centuries." Same job, same work, but one sees it as a burden, while the other sees it as a mission. Passion isn't always about what you do, it's about how you see it. How to find meaning in any job. Psychologists call this job crafting. The idea that you don't need to change careers to find meaning. Instead, you reshape the way you approach your current work. Research by Yale professor Amy Jesniewski found that hospital janitors who saw their job as helping patients heal, rather than just cleaning, were far happier and more engaged. They didn't change jobs, they changed their mindset. So how do you do the same? 1. Connect your work to a bigger purpose. Who benefits from what you do? Whether you're teaching students, fixing cars, or designing software, think beyond the task itself. How does your work make life better for someone else? 2. Turn work into a game. Challenge yourself. Set personal milestones, track progress, and celebrate small wins. Even repetitive tasks feel meaningful when you make them about growth. 3. Find mastery in the small things. Any job can be a craft if you treat it that way. If you're a barista, master the art of making the perfect coffee. If you're in sales, refine your ability to connect with people. Passion often follows excellence. The Stoic perspective: own your role, no matter what it is. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do what nature demands. Get on with it, if it's in your power, and don't look around to see if anyone notices." Stoics didn't believe in complaining about work, they believed in owning it, mastering it, and making it meaningful. Instead of wishing for a different job, bring meaning to the one you have. See yourself not as just another worker, but as a builder of something greater. Because when you find purpose in what you do, work stops being a burden and becomes fuel for a meaningful life. Number 9. Act today. Discipline is forged like steel. Most people wait. They wait for motivation, for the right moment, for a sign that tells them it's time to start. But the truth is, waiting is a trap. The perfect moment will never come. The only time you have control over is now. Why action beats motivation? Think about a blacksmith forging a sword. He doesn't wait for the metal to shape itself. He doesn't hesitate, hoping the fire will do the work for him. He strikes the metal while it's hot, again and again, knowing that every hit strengthens it. This is how discipline is built, not through bursts of motivation, but through consistent action. Now imagine two people who both want to get in shape. The first, Jack, tells himself he'll start next Monday. But when Monday comes, he doesn't feel ready, so he postpones another week. Before he knows it, months have passed, and he's still in the same place. The second, Ryan, doesn't wait for motivation. He doesn't overthink it. He puts on his shoes and starts running today. The first run isn't perfect, but it doesn't have to be. He is already ahead simply because he took action. The science of taking the first step. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. The idea that once you start something, your brain naturally wants to complete it. This is why the hardest part is always getting started. Once you take the first step, momentum takes over. A study from Harvard Business Review found that people who commit to small, consistent actions see far greater long-term success than those who wait for the right time to go all in. How to build unshakable discipline. 1. Start before you're ready. Waiting to feel prepared is procrastination in disguise. Start small, start imperfectly, but start now. 2. Do one thing daily. You don't need massive changes overnight. If you want to be healthier, start with 10 push-ups. If you want to learn a skill, practice for 5 minutes. Small steps create momentum. 3. Make it non-negotiable. A blacksmith doesn't skip a day at the forge. Treat your discipline the same way, as something that must be done, no matter what. The Stoic perspective. Mastery through repetition. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." A Stoic does not wait for circumstances to be ideal. They take action repeatedly until discipline becomes their nature. Today is the day you stop waiting. What is one thing you can do right now, this very moment, to move forward? Do it. Because every action you take is a strike of the hammer, forging you into something stronger. And the more you strike, the sharper you become. Number 10. Live like you're writing an epic. Be grateful for every page. Every day you live is another page in the book of your life. Some people treat their story like a forgettable diary, filled with complaints, regrets, and wasted time. Others treat it like a new, epic legend, a tale of courage, wisdom, and relentless pursuit of greatness. The difference? How they choose to live each moment. What kind of story are you writing? Imagine two people, Adam and Daniel. Adam sees life as something that happens to him. He wakes up each day, drags himself through routine, complains about the same things, and never stops to appreciate what he has. His book is filled with missed opportunities, excuses, and dull repetition. Meanwhile, Daniel wakes up and asks himself, "What story am I writing today?" He sees every challenge as part of his hero's journey. He knows that even setbacks are plot twists that make the ending even more powerful. He doesn't just exist, he lives with purpose. The science of gratitude and purpose. Psychologists have proven that people who practice gratitude daily experience lower stress, increased happiness, and greater resilience. A study from the University of California found that those who wrote down 3 things they were grateful for every day had significantly higher levels of life satisfaction and optimism than those who didn't. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good exercise, it's a mindset shift that rewires your brain for fulfillment. In ancient times, warriors, philosophers, and poets wrote their own legacies, not just in words, but in the way they lived. A Stoic does the same. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." This isn't about being morbid. It's about understanding that every moment is a gift. How to live like you're writing a masterpiece. 1. Start each day with intention. Ask yourself, if today were a chapter in my story, would it be worth reading? 2. Embrace the struggles as part of the plot. Every great story has conflict. See challenges as character development. Your obstacles are shaping you into the hero of your own journey. 3. End each day with gratitude. Before bed, write down 3 things you're thankful for. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's abundant. Your life is a story, and you are the author. Will you write something legendary, or will you let the pages be filled with regrets and routine? Make every chapter count. Live with purpose, with gratitude, and with the knowledge that one day, someone will look at the story you left behind and be inspired. Number 11. Let go of extra weight. Fly like a falcon, not a mule. Picture 2 travelers on life's road. A mule, plodding along, its back piled high with bags it doesn't need, each step slower under stuff it could ditch. Then a falcon, gliding free in the sky, swift and light, carrying only what lifts it higher. The mule trudges, weighed down by excess. The falcon soars, unburdened by junk, not because it's tougher, but because it knows what to drop, shedding the load to claim the open air. This isn't just a story, it's your wake-up call. Life piles on baggage, old worries, draining ties, pointless tasks, and too many haul it like mules, holding tight to what drags them down, thinking it's their duty. They're not thriving, they're just carrying, stuck under weight they could shed. Science backs the lighter way. Cognitive load clogs your mind. Experts say every extra worry or yes clouds your focus, piling stress, dimming peace. Studies on minimalism prove it. Clear the clutter and calm takes over, freeing you up when you trim what doesn't fit. Meet James, a guy swamped by shoulds. He lugs every favor, every stale friend, his day's a slog of sure, his energy zapped by maybe later. He's a mule, bending under the load until a friend says, "Drop what's holding you back, it's not your job to carry it all." That flips the switch. He starts saying no, steps away from what drains, lets go of what's done. James doesn't just lighten up. He lifts off, not by luck, but by choice. In work, in friendships, in dreams, those who ditch the extra don't stall, they rise. The Stoics nailed this truth. Chrysippus said, "The wise man needs nothing he cannot carry." More isn't better, it's a block, but letting go clears the path, making room for what sparks your stride. So skip the load, say no, step free, lift your wings and feel the breeze. In a world of mules plodding with packs, those who travel light lead the way. Closing. Your life rewritten. These 11 Stoic principles will leave you speechless, not because they are complex, but because they are simple, practical, and powerful enough to transform your life. The difference between those who remain stuck and those who thrive isn't intelligence or luck, it's mindset. It's the ability to focus on what you can control, sharpen your discipline, let go of unnecessary burdens, and take action without waiting for permission. This isn't about merely existing. This is about taking ownership of your life and mastering yourself in a way most people never will. But wisdom without action is meaningless. You can absorb all the knowledge in the world, but if you do nothing with it, nothing changes. Life won't wait for you to feel ready. It won't pause while you overthink or search for the perfect moment. The only way forward is to begin. Imperfectly, immediately, right now. Stop waiting for motivation or external validation. None of that will save you. Only action will. Pick one principle from this list and commit to it. Choose to sharpen your mind, take control of your emotions, and stop carrying burdens that don't belong to you. In 30 days, see how even one shift in perspective changes everything. Like this video if you're ready to take control, share it with someone who needs a wake-up call, and subscribe to Victory Stoic for more lessons on resilience and mental toughness. Comment "I start today" and declare which Stoic principle you will apply. Life isn't meant to be endured, it's meant to be mastered. The time is now.